Hi, in today's Things We Love video, I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. I'm here in my own bedroom because a thing I love is sleep. I love everything to do with sleep. I love talking about sleep. I love helping people achieve sleep. I love sleeping. I love actually sleeping. And I always have, and I know that actually everybody realistically loves sleeping, but the thing I wanted to talk to you about today in regards to sleep is what happens when you're a parent, or to be honest, even if you're not a parent, but you have difficulty as an adult sleeping. So things we love today is sleep. We love sleep, but how do we get it? So let's start by talking about the realistic fact that when you are a parent, sleep suddenly becomes a high value commodity. So it's even for someone who has been not a great sleeper as an adult prior to having kids, even then having children and having babies is still a shock to the system. There is no amount of sleep deprivation that I think you can ever get used to. And certainly for people who, like myself, were historically really good sleepers, having a child and a newborn then throws things into a whole new realm of, oh my God, what's just happened? So this is a massive change in anybody's life. And we talk a lot about, in our videos and our literature, we talk a lot about the importance of sleep for your little ones. So I'm not really going to delve into that today. What I am going to talk about is the importance of sleep for adults, and that includes parents. I don't really buy into the whole when you're a parent you have to accept that you'll be sleep deprived mantra or excuse, because I don't agree with that. I think when you're a parent you have to pass through some degree of sleep deprivation, and there's no escaping that, but I do not agree that there is no alternative, and I do not agree that you can't do anything about it. Sleep is important for a whole range of reasons. It affects our mood, it affects our physical health, it affects our immunity, it affects our digestion, it affects our weight gain or loss, it affects our mental health substantially. There are a lot of studies that have been able to link sleep deprivation to depression, to postnatal depression, and to a lot of anxiety and postnatal anxiety. If somebody is susceptible, or if somebody is developing one of these conditions anyway, then sleep deprivation is just adding extra layers to that existing condition. A lot of the time, women, particularly mothers, develop postnatal depression or anxiety as a result of chronic prolonged sleep deprivation. And we've had our own customers talk to us about how once they got their child's sleep sorted and they were then sleeping a lot better, they've been able to come off their medication, they've been able to essentially cure themselves of the effects of depression and postnatal depression and anxiety through getting better sleep. I'm not really going to talk too much about postnatal depression and anxiety in this video, because we've got a few videos on our YouTube channel where we have psychologists and medical professionals speaking on those topics. What I'm going to talk about now is I was more just trying to cover the importance of sleep. So sleep governs everything we do. There's research coming out now that is talking about just how vitally important sleep is for us. And like I said, being a parent, there's no excuse for not being able to sleep. So let's assume that your child or your baby is sleeping all right, and you yourself have the opportunity to have a decent night's sleep, but suddenly you can't, your body can't relax, you're wired, you're waiting for your child to wake up, you're just not sure how to wind down. Suddenly you've gone from being a great sleeper to being a not so great sleeper, or maybe you've never been a great sleeper but this has just made it worse. here are some tips to help adults sleep. So my first tip is quite an easy one, and it's what you've probably seen around the place, and that is to reduce or ideally eliminate your exposure to blue light once it gets dark outside. And that is because as organic beings, we are governed very much by the rhythms of the world around us. So that includes things like the light and the dark, as well as the hot and the cold. I'll talk a bit about that later. And so traditionally, before we had electricity and could artificially prolong daytime, as soon as it got dark, our bodies would kind of clock on to that change in light, change in and accompanying change in temperature, and then we would go through a process of releasing all these different sleep hormones. Our bodies would start gearing up for sleep in response to those elemental triggers. We don't have that so much anymore. We artificially extend daylight through lights, through exposure to lights, through TV screens and iPads and phone screens. So we are preventing these signals and these environmental triggers from telling our brains and our bodies that it's time to gear up for sleep. So what we're finding is that we're lying there with the lights on, we're watching TV, we're looking at our phone screens. All of these things are emitting the kind of light that tells our brains and our bodies it's still daytime. So our bodies are not going into sleep mode, we're just not getting tired. And so what consequently ends up happening is we're then getting overtired. And once we reach the point of being overtired, you will know this hopefully with yourself if you've got a baby or a toddler, it's a lot harder for us to then switch off and go to sleep. We have a lot of cortisol, which is like adrenaline coursing around our bodies, and so the overtiredness means that we wake up more, and we kind of get into this horrible pattern of being overtired in the evening so that we feel wired and we can't go to sleep. Then the next day we're going to be really tired around 2-3 p.m. Even if we have a little snooze there, it's kind of going to then ruin us for going to bed early enough that evening, so we'll stay up late again and we'll get overtired again. And of course the blue light and light exposure starts this cycle. It can start this cycle. So my advice would be turn off the screens at least an hour before you think you want to go to bed. There are some, like I know some phones and Kindle type devices do have a night mode function, which reduces the blue light and pushes out more of an amber light, which is a better, I suppose, light to be exposed to rather than the harsh blue or white light. So investigate those sort of options. Read a book, listen to some music, do something that's not stimulating your brain and not stimulating your eyes through the light that it is emitting. So decide what time you want to go to sleep. Have an hour at least wind down period where you've got all the lights off, the curtains are drawn, you've got some kind of activity that's nice and quiet and not too stimulating to do. The next piece in this puzzle is the bedtime. Have a consistent bedtime. I know it sounds like you're 8 and I'm your mum and I'm saying go to bed, but go to bed. Set yourself a consistent bedtime. And the reason for this is because, like I said, we are so governed by our body clock. It's called a body clock. So clocks have set and specific times on them. They have specific functions. They are a pattern and a rhythm, and unless they're broken or faulty, they don't veer from that pattern. It's what keeps them working. That's why they work. We are the same. We need to have this specific pattern to our day for our bodies to operate at their maximum capacity. So having a consistent bedtime and a consistent wake-up time every day is just as important for adults as it is for our babies and children. It helps our body clocks lock in. And so what will naturally start occurring if you set your bedtime at, say, 10 p.m, in the lead up to that, your body knows this is coming up towards bedtime. The lighting is reduced. I'm doing this calm, quiet activity. I'm reading, I'm listening to music, I'm just nice chatting with my husband in a dimly lit, candlelit room. Your body comes to understand that bedtime is approaching, it's bedtime now, so your body will start releasing sleep hormones and start getting you ready for sleep. Sleep will come easier as a result. Likewise, set yourself a consistent wake up time every day, even on the weekends. It'll take a couple days before that just automatically becomes your body's habit. And that helps with the body clock thing at the start of the day. So you always start your day at say 7 or 8, or it might be 7 if you've got babies and young children. Always get up at 7, always go to bed at 10. It locks in that really consistent body clock response, and your sleep will thank you for it. So what you're going to be doing is having that nice wind down routine, screens off, lights off, TV off. Have a shower or a bath before you go to bed. The main reason to do this, not only to get clean, is to force a core body temperature shift. So another one of those triggers I was telling you about, that where the environment sort of triggers something to happen in our bodies, is, as you can imagine, dusk is approaching, we're living in a cave, we don't have artificial lighting to extend daylight, so once the dark comes, there's not much we can do about it except sit around a fire, which is still red light emitting and cozy and not blurry blue bright lights. The other key thing that happens at this time is there is always a shift in temperature when the sun goes down. And that key shift in temperature is a big elemental trigger within our bodies that it's dark, it's night, it's time for sleep. So that is another thing that triggers a body clock response, i.e. the release of our sleep hormones. So we can simulate this by simply having a shower or a bath before bedtime. And that's the same reason actually that we suggest giving your baby and your toddler a bath or a shower at bedtime as well, because they're nice and warm. When they get out, it triggers a core body temperature shift because they cool down from being in that nice warm bath or shower, and it replicates that same core body temperature shift that we would have seen in the wild in a more primitive way of living. That's a really easy thing that you can do in the lead up to bedtime to help your body gear up for sleep. The sleep environment is something else that plays a massive role in sleeping or not sleeping. And it's the same for our babies and children. There's no surprise there. So in your sleep environment, I would always recommend any adult and any child to be sleeping in the pitch black. Shut your curtains, get blackout curtains. We're quite pedantic. We can't even stand if there is a tiny scrap of light coming down the center of our curtains, because the days that accidentally happens, my husband and I wake at like 10 to 6. There's a tiny bit of light that comes through this window here. The days that we nail it and manage to shut them without a crack in the middle, we don't wake at 10 to 6, because it's that sneaky daylight coming in that tells your body that it's daytime. It's another one of those elemental triggers. So it's telling your body that it's daytime and you wake up. Same with our children. Make your room as dark as you can. Take away the digital clock from your room. Get it out of there. If you need to know what time it is, look at your watch next to your bed, or turn your phone over or something and check the time. Get that digital clock out of there. Not only is it bright and light emitting, but it also means you're gonna keep looking at it if you're struggling to sleep. So you're gonna wake up and be like, oh, it's 2 a.m. Oh, it's 2:30. Oh, it's 3 a.m. I haven't been asleep. Then you're focusing on the time, which means you're focusing on something other than just relaxing and letting your body take over and put you back to sleep. Get the clock out. Take out your phones if you can, your iPads, your computers. Take anything out of the room that is going to create some kind of stimulation. I actually always put my phone in flight mode overnight, and I use it next to my bed so that I can check the time if I need to, if one of the kids gets up, for example. But it's in flight mode so that there's nothing notifying me, there's no lights coming on, there's nothing. It's just sitting silent and just about dead right next to my bed. Get your phones out of there. If you need to keep your phone on overnight, put it out in the living room or something where you could hear it if someone was phoning you an emergency, but you're not going to get notifications and it's not going to start lighting up. Another thing I would strongly recommend if you struggle to sleep is use white noise. And you're probably thinking, oh, that's just for babies. No. What you can't see just out of shot here is my husband has a fan that is permanently plugged in next to his side of the bed in our room. He sleeps with the fan on every night, not blowing on us, sort of against the wall, because it's just that nice rhythmical sound. And he's not the best sleeper, but that definitely helps him sleep. When we go away somewhere, he'll take it with him. I mean, obviously not if we're going on a plane, or maybe not always if we're going to a hotel, but where we can, he'll take the fan with him. We have our own white noise album on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Play, Google, Amazon Music, all of the music stores. So you can set that on repeat. We've got millions of different types of sounds on there. We've got rain, waves, rivers, a fan. We've got a lot of brown noise, white noise, pink noise. Choose something that you like. It doesn't have to be a fan. It might be you like listening to the sound of waves. Choose something that you like, put it on repeat, put it next to your bed. The thing with white noise is it helps us drift off because it's something that our brain can focus on rather than focusing on, I can't get to sleep. So focus on the white noise. We accidentally focus on the white noise, but it also helps block out any other noises that we might be focusing on, like the insects outside or hearing something in the other room. White noise is a really easy, affordable, reliable sleep tool for anybody's toolkit, child or adult. The next tip I'm going to give you is sometimes it's within our control and sometimes it's not realistically, and that is about temperature. If you can control the temperature in your sleep environment, you want it cold. We sleep better when we're cold. When it's cold and we're snuggled under lots of nice warm blankets. So we're lucky we have an air conditioning unit in our bedroom, and we've sort of always made sure we had one in our bedroom because we know that we sleep better when it's cold. Our bedroom is 17 degrees. Our air conditioning unit is set to 17 degrees Celsius all night long, and we sleep with 2 duvets on top of us. So behind me you can see one. There's another thick duvet underneath it. We like the weight of the blankets on us. I suppose it's like a baby being swaddled maybe. We like the cold and the warm weight of the blankets. It definitely helps you sleep. We find if we go away somewhere and it's warmer or we can't control the temperature in the room, then we definitely struggle to sleep. So if you have to use a fan, if you need to open windows, make your sleep environment as cool as you can and as you can bear it, but obviously not ridiculously cold. Another quite easy and logical, but you would be surprised at the people that don't put 2 and 2 together quite like this, tip is get that caffeine out of there. Don't have any caffeine beyond at least 3 p.m, maybe even 12 p.m. If you are someone who is having a coffee at 3 or 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I'm not surprised you're not sleeping. Caffeine stays in our system for like 8 to 10 hours. So if you do the math, there's no way that your brain is ready to relax and go to sleep if you're having caffeine that late in the day. And there's hidden caffeine too, of course. Tea has caffeine in it. Chocolate has caffeine in it. I know myself, if I am pigging out and eating a bunch of chocolate in the evening, I can't sleep. I know I can't have coffee after midday. My colleague Amanda can't have coffee after about 3 p.m. So everybody's a little bit different in their tolerance to caffeine, but bring it back. If you're having coffee or caffeine in the later half of the day, start scaling it back earlier and earlier and find the balance. Find the point where you can still have it at that point and be tired and ready for sleep at sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock in the evening. The last tip I'm going to give you is more about the mentality of not sleeping. So it's really easy to get stuck in our heads and to go, I'm anxious about sleeping, I'm not going to sleep tonight, I'm not sleeping currently, I'm lying in bed, I'm not sleeping, why am I not sleeping? And we get stuck in this cycle of sort of we've almost talked ourselves out of sleeping. We've convinced ourselves that we can't sleep, and then sleep is difficult as a result. We get trapped in our head. So the quickest way around that is only be in your bed when you are sleeping. So if you're not sleeping, if you're lying in your bed not sleeping, get out of your bed, go and sit somewhere else. Even if it's the middle of the night, go into the lounge room, don't turn on the lights or turn on a very dim light, and read. Do something else, listen to music, think, do something else, and then when you feel sleepy again, come back to your bed. But if you don't go to sleep, get out again. Your brain needs to associate your bed with sleeping, not with not sleeping. So if you're not sleeping in your bed, get out of your bed. After a while, you will sleep in your bed, trust me. And after a while of sleeping in your bed and your head hitting the pillow and you're sleepy and you're falling asleep in your bed, your brain goes, okay, this is the place I sleep, not the place I don't sleep. And that's a really strong association. And it's something that's super, super, super powerful, our brain, but it is something that we can train ourselves away from. So the only thing you should be doing in your bed is sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, get out and do something somewhere else and come back when you're ready to go to sleep. My last piece of advice around that psychological side of it too is, yes, our brains are powerful and sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And if your brain is on fire and you're anxious about sleep and you're worried about sleep and you're not sleeping and you're trying all these other tricks, I really suggest you look at some form of relaxation method or technique. And it might be a form of meditation or guided meditation. It might even be implementing what I would call a structured breathing routine, where you're focusing on deep breathing into your belly, which activates calming responses in our body. So taking those big deep belly breaths, holding them for 5 seconds and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out. Or there's apps you can get on your phone. I know we want to avoid using our phones, but there are little apps that guide you through a breathing meditation. Something that takes you out of your head and puts you back in your body, which is where you need to be so that you can let your body do its work and fall asleep. That's the last stage, and I would recommend you have a look online, go to a health store and talk to somebody there. I always find they're really useful when it comes to advice like this. Relaxation exercises, physical relaxation exercises where you tense and relax different parts of your body at different times. Anything that helps you stop focusing on the fact you're not sleeping and start focusing on something else, like your breathing or like your body, feeling your body heavy in the bed, letting the heaviness pull you down and pull you into sleep. So that's the thing I love this week, sleep. And what I challenge everybody to do is to prioritize your own sleep. We're not the best version of ourselves when we're sleep deprived. We're not the best parents we can be when we're sleep deprived. That's just a fact. We're not the best husbands or wives or partners or friends. And I think we get so caught up in the martyrdom of sleep deprivation that we don't prioritize ourselves. And you should prioritize yourself, and you should prioritize your sleep because you need it for your health. And you need it to be the best version of yourself. And that's something that I challenge everybody to do. And if you're struggling to sleep, I hope these tips have been really valuable for you. I am currently writing an article about this as well, so keep an eye on our website because I'll be posting a written article about this in the next little while on there as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for lots more videos, mostly about baby sleep and nutrition, but also parenting. Thanks for watching.